My presentation will be looking at 2050. We need 100 new cities by 2050. Architecture, planning, urban design, real estate, infrastructure, well into the new world order. We've done projects in 40 countries, but this time we're more focused in the Philippines. So global best practices, vision of Paris, smart city by 2050. Vertical cities, tall buildings, lot of green architecture. So this one is in France, biophilic building, agriculture, urban landscape. Bosco Verticale Milan, 20,000 trees and plants across pair of towers can transport approximately 44,000 pounds of carbon dioxide into oxygen each year. Duo, Singapore residential tower, extensive landscape areas and green spaces equal to 100% of the site area. The Edge in Amsterdam, the smartest, greenest building of the world, can produce 102% of its energy requirements through 5,900 square meters of solar panels, rainwater harvesting, 30,000 sensors of energy efficiency. Highline in New York, elevated pedestrian walkway. This is an abandoned elevated railway made into a linear park elevated. San Francisco, biophilic city, a city diffused with abundance of nature. Washington, D.C., world's first LEED Platinum city, a green city. 65% of neighborhoods are walkable. 58% of commuter trips are by biking, walking, and public transit. Singapore, 45% green and open space. Amsterdam, water-sensitive urban design, rainwater collection in streets, roof gardens, parks, buildings, green zones, and houses. Sponge City Initiative in China, nationwide projects for nature-based, flood-resilient, and green infrastructure and increased tree cover, building wetlands and rainwater storage. Stockholm, Sweden, revival of rivers, waterways, walkable and bikeable. Copenhagen, bicycle highways. Heathrow, London, self-driving electric pods, zero-emission pods replace diesel-burning hopper buses at the terminal. Bogota, Colombia, bus rapid transit. Paris, city introduced a car-free day in 2020. Now Paris is, the mayor of Paris is now making Paris a 15-minute city. All your destinations within 15 minutes from your home. Nature Urban Paris, world's largest urban farm, 14,000 square meters farm, able to produce 2,000 pounds of fruit and vegetables a day. Aeroponic farming cuts water usage by 90% compared with traditional soil-based farming. Copenhagen, Denmark, one of Europe's largest waste-to-energy plants and architectural landmark. All of these are inspirations for our cities of the future. Top 10 cities in the world, greenest city, Tampa, Singapore, Oslo, Vancouver, Sydney, Montreal, Durban, Johannesburg, Sacramento, and Frankfurt. Smartest cities in the world, Singapore, Helsinki, Zurich, Auckland, Oslo, Copenhagen, Geneva, Taipei, Amsterdam, and New York. Urban mobility, Hong Kong, Zurich, Paris, Seoul, Prague, Vienna, London, Singapore, Stockholm, and Frankfurt. Resilient, future-proof cities, San Francisco, Silicon Valley, New York, London, Boston, Los Angeles, Paris, Amsterdam, Toronto, San Diego. Livable cities in the world, Auckland, Osaka, Adelaide, Wellington, Tokyo, Perth, Zurich, Geneva, Melbourne, and Brisbane. Tourist cities, Bangkok, London, Paris, Dubai, Singapore, Tokyo, Seoul, New York, Kuala Lumpur, and Hong Kong. Gateway cities, international arrivals, Dubai, London, Hong Kong, Paris, Amsterdam, Singapore, Frankfurt, Incheon, Bangkok, Istanbul. Safest cities, Tokyo, Singapore, Osaka, Amsterdam, Sydney, Toronto, Washington, D.C., Copenhagen, Seoul, and Melbourne. Innovative nations, South Korea, Sweden, Singapore, Germany, Switzerland, Japan, Finland, Denmark, France, and Israel. These should be the model cities that we should take inspiration from. Unfortunately, our country, the inspiration was post-war Los Angeles. Los Angeles was designed for the automobile, not for the pedestrians. At Palafox, we have an integral ecology, people first or social equity, then planet Earth or the environment, then we can talk about profits, prosperity, economic goals, without forgetting history, culture, humanities, and interfaith spirituality. 2030 challenge, zero net energy buildings by the year 2030. I had pledged in before year 2000 that buildings that we design should be carbon neutral by 2030, addressing climate change. One of my professors in Harvard used to tell us, this century will be a re-century, reimagine, replan, re-architecture, redesign, re-engineer, redevelop, renew, reduce, reuse, recycle, renaissance. Sustainability, meeting the needs of the present generations without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their needs. We do not inherit the earth from our ancestors, we borrow it from our children. From the Native American Chief Seattle. Sustainability and urban development, green architecture, green urbanism, green technology, green energy, green tenure, green engineering, infrastructure, manufacturing, green transportation, purchasing jobs, hopefully green sustainable development. There are 6 kinds of infrastructure, progressive. These are the international airports, international seaports, international schools, international hotels and hospitals. And hard infrastructure, we all know that. These are the roads and utilities. Soft infrastructure, the ease of doing business. No red tape, no corruption. Green and sustainable. We all know that. Digital Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, and institutional infrastructure. We need good institutions to implement those plans. Smart cities integrate social, environmental, economic goals using efficient processes, investing in its people and technology to provide higher quality of life for its citizens, businesses, and visitors. Resilient, well-connected, self-sufficient, socially inclusive, and more compact. Components of a smart city: smart government, the ease of doing business, transparency, no red tape, no corruption, and availability of open data. Smart economy fosters entrepreneurship, innovation, and interconnectivity, where small to large businesses can prosper. Smart living, security, health, and vitality of communities. Smart people, world-class education is made accessible to everyone. Smart mobility encourages faster, environment-friendly, and more affordable transportation options. Smart environment deals with urban plans in innovative ways that protect the environment and the city's natural resources. Aerotropolis, airport-driven city, a center for business, logistics, technology, and innovation. We're involved in 2 aerotropolis right now, Clark and the International Airport in Bulacan. Agropolis, the farm in the city, a center for food production, agri-industrial businesses, research, also known as urban suburban agriculture. Aquapolis, center for waterfront development and marine food production. Ecopolis, center for environment, tourism, education, and natural heritage. Green urbanism. Green urbanism seeks to reduce carbon footprint in communities and destinations by making them more walkable and bikeable. It ensures that the community achieves a balanced lifestyle where there are workplaces to work, play, live, shop, and dine, and worship. From urban sprawl to more compact developments, from segregated to better integrated, from congested to better connected. Mixed-use developments promotes walking, maximizing land values for proprietary areas, promotes sharing infrastructure, provides attractive transition between land uses. That's Rockwell, our projects in the background. This is the future of urban development in the cities. First 2 floors, commercial, retail, shopping and dining. 3rd to 4th floor, place to work, offices. Upper floors, place to live. So you only have you minimize motorized commuting. This was Rockwell then, before we planned it. The first 5 towers were the architects of record and the master plan also. So a good plan add value to real estate and a good architecture and design. Vertical urbanism, it's the way to go. Hong Kong, 7.1 million population. People who live in more compact cities tend to live about 3 years longer than people that live in less compact cities. Next slide. So Hong Kong, with its tall buildings and vertical urbanism, is 71% open and green spaces. Green transportation, San Francisco won the Sustainable Transport Award. And there are 20 kinds of urban transport. The first modes are walking, biking, then public transit. And the last priority should be the automobile. So pedestrians first, then bicycles, and public transit, then private cars. Those with less in wheels should have more in roads, 1/3 for people, pedestrians and bicycles, 1/3 for trees and landscaping, and 1/3 for the moving traffic vehicles. This is our proposal for EDSA, because EDSA is functioning at 8 roads, 8 parallel roads. So we propose a 3-level EDSA. Next slide. And the whole length of EDSA, elevated walkways, elevated bicycle lanes with design vendors. And with that, you could even introduce landscaping and trees and linear parks. Parks and open spaces are the lungs of the city. This is our master plan for Clark Freeport Zone, a smart city, Aerotropolis, airport-driven city, abundant green open spaces for Clark Freeport Zone. This is for Metro Davao urban design for linear parks. And we also work on the Metro Davao urban master plan. Even the pavement patterns are influenced by the indigenous architecture of Mindanao. More alfresco dining. We did this before the pandemic, and now restaurants should have 50% outdoor dining, 30% kitchen, 20% enclosed dining. This will be the future shopping in retail. We designed this in Monterey, California. Shopping and dining should be more extroverted now, looking at the pedestrian streets. Unlike malls, we have been introverted, enclosed. Promenades for the Iloilo Business Park, which also we master plan. The original runway would be a pedestrian street, mixed-use development. Again, promenades in Clark. Promenades still in Clark. This has been my dream for, I think, 50 years already. I've been proposing that our country can be interconnected with bridges, tunnels, and railways, interconnect the whole country. And the American Corps of Engineers proposed 6 circumferential roads and 10 radial roads. I had proposed 10 circumferential roads, now doing the radial road, circumferential road number 10, connecting Bataan and Cavite, which I proposed that 40 years ago, so that circumferential roads 7, 8, 9, and 10 would avoid the traffic congested Metro Manila, interconnect Calabarzon and Central Luzon. I presented this in 2006, the 60th anniversary of the United Nations, interconnecting the 6 continents of the world by highways, railways, and tunnel system. And way ahead of the 2013, China announced the Belt Road, interconnecting 3 continents, excluding the Americas. I believe this can still be done. And you can see in here, the Philippines is right in the middle of Asia Pacific. This is now being designed, the Bataan-Cavite Bridge Tunnel. The Bao Gulf Bridge. This is our architectural design for the future bridge interconnecting Samal Island and mainland Davao. Green architecture development seeks to build the conditions of the site. It aims to create buildings that have minimal impact on human health and natural environment. This is very important during this pandemic. Green buildings utilizes less resources, generating less water, reduces pollution, preserving greenery, waterways, and natural resources. Green building, we have reintroduced in our architecture the wind towers they used to have in the Middle East before oil was discovered. So you You collect the wind, the breeze from ventilation from above and ventilate the rooms below and cross-ventilate the whole building, green building. And we designed, we gave 18 architectural design for the King Abdallah Financial District in Saudi Arabia with green architecture, solar roof interconnecting the buildings and all the features of a green building. This is Dubai in 1960. And something close to my heart because I was invited to help plan the desert town of Dubai to make it into world-class city that it is today. This was the silted creek that was dredged, and this is the same creek today in Dubai. Dubai then, Dubai Marina, the same place today. That's a man-made canal, Dubai Canal and Marina. Dubai then, and Dubai today, Sheikh Zayed Road. Dubai waterfront then, Dubai today. I'm showing this because Dubai made it to the first world in 15 years. Dubai then, when I went there, April 1977, maybe 50 years behind Manila International Airport. Dubai International Airport today, one of the busiest in the world. They're building the largest airport in the world. By 2050, it will accommodate combined capacity of London Heathrow and Chicago O'Hare. So Dubai then, and the same place today. The wind towers of Dubai then, before oil was discovered. And the same towers today, one of the tallest before, the tallest building in the world, Burj Khalifa, a vertical village, place to live, workshop, and island worship. They ran out of waterfront prime real estate. So the ruler of Dubai decided to do artificial islands, the Palm Islands. And the Philippines has the third or fifth longest coastline in the world. When we're not too busy, we take pictures of the uglification of our cities, and I call them postcards from the future. So Pasig River today and Pasig River in the future, postcards from the future. Estero in Manila today can be like this in the future. San Juan River today, postcard from the future. A creek in San Juan today, postcard from the future. A street in San Pedro Laguna today, postcard in the future. Tourist destination Ilocos Norte, Kapurpuran, White Rock. We put boardwalk, even wheelchair ready to reach your tourist destination. Boracay Island, we did the plans 1991-2006. It's only now that it's being implemented. Make it like a rival to a tropical island. Boracay, now they are following our plans, improving it like this. Boracay Island, now with the rehabilitation, they're following now our plans. Yeah. The white sand beach of Boracay with elevated walkways and bicycle lanes. So we preserve the sand below it, elevated the boardwalk. Boracay Island, our master plan. San Vicente, Palawan, 800 kilometers, 800 of fine sand and so on. And this was cited as one of the top 8 best master plan projects in the world. Before we planned it, the land value was 300 pesos per square meter. After we got the award, and after the master plan was approved, the land value went up to 14,000 pesos per square meter. So a good plan can add value. Some of our advocacies, we don't just do architecture for business, trade and commerce, and for government. We also do architectural activism, architecture for humanity, architecture of faith, architecture for the poor, architecture for transportation, green architecture, democratic architecture, patriotic architecture, philanthropic architecture. My advocacies. Daniel Burnham planned Manila in 1905, and I like to quote him, "Make no little plans, they have no magic to stir men's blood. Making big plans, aim high in hope and work, remembering that a noble logical diagram once recorded will never die. but long after we're gone, will be a living thing asserting itself with ever-growing insistence. Remember that our sons and daughters are going to do things that will stagger us. Let your watchword be order and beacon beauty. And Churchill said, never let a good crisis go to waste. So let's take advantage of this pandemic, lessons from mistakes made, and make urban renewal, improve our urban development. And he also said, we shape our buildings, thereafter they shape us. I wrote this when I was a student, 1973. Development is not worthy of a name unless spread evenly like butter on a piece of bread. Today we call it inclusive growth, inclusionary zoning, and so on. Everything we do is pro Deo, patria et terra, for God, country, and planet Earth. And I think we would like to live in environment-friendly, master-planned, well-designed buildings and communities and cities that are smarter, more resilient, more livable, better connected, more accessible, walkable, bikeable, safer, better lighted, more convenient, cleaner, with mixed income, cross-generational mixed developments, with places to live, work, shop, and dine, learn and worship, with healthcare and wellness centers, recreation and leisure, with some 24-hour cycle activity centers. Thank you very much. And if I may add, our country has so blessed, where many centuries ago, the center of trade and commerce was the Mediterranean. The last century was the Atlantic. This century is the Pacific, Asia Pacific. And our country is right in the center. It's no wonder for more than 300 years, we were the Asia Pacific hub of Spanish Europe and Mexico, the Americas. 50 years, the Americans. 4 years, the Japanese. 2 years, the British. So our strategic location and beautiful islands, superpower countries will always be interested in our islands. Statuary hub. It's 400 times the size of Singapore, 350 times the size of Hong Kong, 8 times the size of Taiwan, 3 times the size of South Korea. And we are number 1 in the world in marine biodiversity. We're now number 1 in call centers. We're number 1 in sailors, seafarers. We're number 2 in geothermal energy. We're number 2 in BPOs. I think we are the 3rd or the 5th longest coastline in the world. Other countries like Dubai, they do man-made islands because they rent out of prime waterfront real estate. We're number 4 in the world in gold reserves and number 4 in shipbuilding. We are number 5 in all other mineral resources, and we are number 12 in human resources. So I'd like to believe we can make it into the first world by 2030. Thank you very much for the opportunity to share. Thank you.